We'll actually go out of the game room just to make sure. Yeah, the game is running once more, so no panic. No reason for panic. The game is still running. We'll have to wait and see if Fire indeed is going to wall and try to go for something like a sling. Take a look at the map on the right side. FedEx right here. Looks to me like he's got a very open map here. You can see the gold is at the very front. Something the players obviously don't enjoy at all. And also consider how open his base is here to the right side. He would need so many palisades in order to actually close this. I don't think that is an option at this very moment. We will wait and see to actually try to realize what will his strategy be. But that is indeed a very bad map in my opinion. Let's take a look at what Goku map looks like. Goku on the other side looks like he does not have a very bad map here in my opinion. He can close it with a couple of palisades here as well. The gold's sort of safe in case he goes for the forward walls right there. The left side of the map seems quite closed as well. A couple of palisades here, a couple of palisades here, and he will be very fine. Alright, so far, looks to me like indeed this is a very nice map for the Brazilians. And taking a look at the walls going up here by Fire already, this is so early in Dark Age, I would have to assume that indeed a sling is going to be taking place here with the Brazilian team. I would assume that is going to be Fire slinging Han's player, that is Riot. I would be very surprised if that is not the case, considering that Fire already starting to throw up those walls. That is very early on into the game indeed, so that would sort of indicate that. I will switch into the point of view of Riot and try to understand what will he be doing at the very early stages of the game. He's got 4 villagers on woods most times. That sort of indicates a drush. A drush that does not seem to be happening just yet. I don't see any barracks being dropped at this very moment. Looks like he was waiting a little bit more for that. Or maybe just not going to do that at all and just go straight FC because he will be counting on a sling. Nope, maybe this villager will be the one dropping a barracks. Yeah, there he goes. So he will be drushing, that's for sure. Looks like he will go and take a little bit of gold right here to make sure he's got enough gold for 3 militia. Dropping the palisades as well to make sure the left side of the map is quite safe. And I'm also taking a look at what's happening here on the Argentinian side and taking a look at the walls that are being put up here by Juan as well. I would have to assume that indeed a sling is going to take place as well on the Argentinian side. I would have to assume that would be Juan, the Spanish pocket, the one who was going to sling here his teammates. Question remains to be seen which one will be getting the sling. Maybe that will be FedEx. FedEx has got such an open map. He's Mongol still. Of course, people usually try to sling the Huns. Huns are probably, at least at the very early stages of the game, one of the strongest civilizations. So maybe that is indeed what is going to happen. Yeah, I'm trying to see here what the chat says in the game. Yeah, Riot was asking his teammates to check, please, if they are going to sling or not. I think Nikov himself just realized that Fire might be slinging too, and I would be very surprised not to see a double sling here from both teams. Let's take a look at the right side of the map. Looks like Goku is the first one that wants to go in with a couple of militia. Here he goes, he's moving in with 2 of them. Looks like the third is on the way. FedEx was able to scout this very well on time. He will be in Feudal by the time Goku gets there with this militia, so he probably won't suffer any major hit from those militia. He will be able to out-micro them with a couple of scouts, assuming that scouts is going to be his primary army composition at the very beginning of Feudal Age, and indeed it's going to be scouts here from FedEx dropping stable. I'm going to go into his point of view to try to understand who is going to get the sling here from the Argentinian. Something not quite ideal here from FedEx. He's making the stable with 1 very hurt villager, but does not look like Goku is going to those. He's going for the buried villagers. And he just went back a little bit for whatever reason that is. He's going now. FedEx doesn't seem to be reacting to this. He sees this now, but looks like one of the village could be hurt. He looks like he could actually die, and hard to see how could he save it. There he goes. Goku killing one of the villagers. Nice job here by Goku. Very well done. He needs to go back a little bit. He lost a militia too, but I think he will be happy with the outcome. Taking a villager straight away from FedEx. Nice job here by Goku. We're going to take a look at what is happening on the left side. I see a drush here going back from Riot because there's walls all over Gary's base. So it looks like Riot won't have a chance of doing anything right there. He's going back with his militia. He was going to be a little bit defensive with those because he does know that the militia from Gary are moving as well and going straight towards his TC. And let's take a look at what's happening once more on the left side. FedEx now making sure he's completely wild and nothing bad can happen to him. Goku seems to be moving to the pocket. Little does he know that indeed the pocket is quite wild. Something interesting here that I seem to have missed. Dogon does not seem to be going for fast castle. He chose to make a couple of scouts, so this is quite unfortunate for him because now he can see that both the pockets are fully wild as far as I can see. And so Dogon was probably not able to do any kind of damage. He wants to do something on FedEx here, needs to go back a little bit. FedEx does have a whole lot of scouts himself. But let's take a look. Looks like Juan is not the one who's going to sling, but Nikov is. Nikov is the one doing the coinage here, so that would indicate, to me at least, that indeed he's going to try and sling the left side of his base. I mean, the left side of his team. That would be Gary, the one's playing with Han, so maybe, just maybe, Juan is not going to be slinging. Let's try to take a look at what he is doing. I'm going to his point of view for a split second here. Juan, yeah, looks like he's saving up for a fast castle indeed, so he will not be slinging. He will go for a fast castle. Dogon heals. FedEx still trying to chase away the scout from Goku. Looks like I'm not even sure where the militia from Goku just went. Looks like he either lost them or just sent them back. I'm not sure he was actually able to do any kind of decent damage right here. I was just taking a look at what happened here in the map. It looks like the drush from Gary is gone as well. Riot himself still got 3 of those militia, but they won't be able to do very much, to be honest. Every single player on the Argentinian side as well, apart from FedEx, and then do fear for FedEx. First, FedEx throwing up the huge stone walls right here. He wants to make sure he will be safe at all costs, and hard to disagree with him, especially considering they will be facing a sling very, very likely. Going to the point of view of Riot, I'm expecting him to be the one getting the sling. Let's make sure I'm not saying anything wrong here. Let's take a look at the statistics. Sling is being sent from fire to Riot. Indeed, no big deal, no big surprise. And Nikov is slinging Gary. So exactly what we just said before. The Mayans will be slinging the Hun. So looks like the strategy is sort of the same for both teams here. Let's just take a look at what that flare was here. Looks like FedEx was able to find here a nice spot to try and hit the villagers from Dogon. He will be able to take one villager, that's for sure. One is down. Nice job here by FedEx. Was able to fight back the drush from Goku, able to get a villager from Dogon, who will be quite late to Castle H. He still didn't even click because he went for scouts instead of the regular fast castle build order. Looks like Dogon by now has got a spear of his own, so he can sort of defend easily from these scouts right here. FedEx is going to try and find another spot where he could eventually hit more villages down here on the goal, down here on the farms. Looks like those could be a very nice spot to hit, to be honest. And Dogon really needs to be very, very careful with his villagers. Looks like that is exactly what he is doing. Maybe one of those villagers can be sniped off on the gold. He will try to get one of them, loses one scout. Nice job here by Dogon, microing his villagers, attacking straight away the one that was very damaged. Nice job here by Dogon. Taking a look at what Riot is doing. He was trying to open the walls right here on Gary's side. He won't be very lucky. There's stone walls all over the place. And Gary himself, as we just said before, is going to get a sling. So this is all going to come down to whoever manages to do a better job with the sling, Riot or Gary. Which one will that be? Gary throwing up another TC. What about Riot? Riot's doing the exact same thing. He's got 4 knights already. I do wonder what exactly does he want to bring them, because to be honest, only FedEx at this point is open. And let me correct that, he's not open anymore. The walls are real, guys. The walls are real. Everyone is wild in this game apart from Goku and Dogon. Even though Goku does seem to be wild by now as well. So only Dogon seems to be open right here on the left side. And indeed, a nice damage seems to be done here by Juan. Juan has got 1 knight. He did not go for the sling as we just suspected at the very beginning. He just killed another villager. The scouts are going to be a very easy prey for him. And Dogon could be in a tough spot here. He's only now reaching Castle Age. He's got one stable, he's got two stables, so probably camels would be the first units to be seen here from Dogon. Let's take a look at the sling fight here between Riot and Gary. Both players have got 6 knights. Bloodlines for Riot, bloodlines and +2 for Gary, so looks like he's a little bit faster when it comes to those upgrades, so he will be moving eventually to Dogon, because indeed fire is quite stonewalled all the way over until the edge of his map, so looks like the only possible target for Gary could be Dogon at this very point. Let's see if he realizes that on time. Something a little bit unfortunate here for 5th-8th. I do wonder how did this happen. Looks like there was a hole somewhere around here into his base. Goku was able to get in. He's got a couple of crossbows right there. Still missing the +2 to be fair, but he will be able to get a couple of villagers. And you have to wonder what went wrong here with the walls of 5th-8th. Maybe somewhere around here. There's one piece of stone wall missing somewhere over there in the top. I guess Goku is going to show us what that was. Yeah, somewhere around here was where Goku was able to get in. A very, very tough, very bad mistake here by 5th-8th. Could be costing them such a huge amount of time. He's going to lose a couple of villagers. He does not seem to have any kind of units. Only now going to Castle Age. He was expecting to go for a stable, so quite unlucky here. Looks like Juan is going to come in and save the day, but that is surely going to cost 5th-8th a whole lot of time, and quite unfortunate for him. Let's take a look at what's happening here on Dogon, and indeed Dogon is suffering a couple of hits here by Gary. Gary has got the knights right there with a +2 with the bloodlines. A couple more villagers go down for him. Dogon does have a whole lot of camels. He was just a little bit misplaced with them. So far, looks like indeed Riot is doing a very nice job here with the rush. So looks like a very nice job here by Gary, let me correct that. Riot still seems to be trying to fight for a place to hit. He wasn't able to do anything as of yet. And Gary indeed doing something very nicely here. Trying to find a spot to hit. He won't be able to do that anymore because Dogon's got a whole lot of camels by now. So Gary does need to go back, and do keep in mind that the camels are a little bit faster than those knights, so Gary indeed needs to move back as fast as possible. Looks like the raid on 5th-8th base is indeed taken care of, has been taken care of, so he will be fine for the time being. Juan does have a couple of knights right there outside of his walls. Not sure what exactly does he want to do with them. Riot himself is looking for a spot to hit, but there are so many walls in this game. Doesn't look like this is the match for knights, at least not at this point, where in fact everyone is walled and no one's able to do any kind of decent damage. I will take a look at the sling really fast to try to understand who exactly is doing the better job. Very similar. Fire 3k5 sling, while Nikov did a 3k6 sling. Very, very similar when it comes to the sling. I do wonder why exactly is Fire flaring the base of Nikov. Riot does know there's no chance of anyone getting in there, at least at this point in time. This is Riot still trying to find a place where he eventually could go in and try to do some raiding. That does not seem to be the case anywhere in the Argentinian side. Once more taking a look at what Gary's trying to do. Dogon's still quite open. He really needs to rely on those camels to defend himself from these raids from Juan and Gary as well. That could be a little bit tough here. Looks like, yeah, Nico asking for help here, but does not look to me like that is going to be a very huge threat to him. He's there with a couple of villagers, throwing in the stone walls. Goku in the meanwhile coming in with a couple of crossbows, and indeed this is quite a nice idea. He will try to stop those villagers from walling, from stone walling, and by doing so, he could eventually stop Nikov from throwing stone walls right here on the right side. Indeed, he's doing that. He does need to rely on Gary to come in with a couple of knights, but Gary is so far away at this point. This could be Nikov in a very hard spot here, throwing in a couple of more villagers to make sure he can close this here in time. Riot has got a whole lot of knights right there. Goku will not let him finish those walls, or he will do his very best to stop him from finishing those walls. But this, once more, is going to cost a very, very precious amount of time here for the Argentinian team. The houses will go down very, very soon. And this is very hard spot here for Nikov. He needs to have Gary's help. Gary seems to be quite misplaced at this point. He really should be right here on the right side and not there on Dogon's base. Nikov doing everything he can. He just lost a whole lot of villagers. It does look to me like he is fully closed at this very moment. Goku doing a very nice micro here, making sure there's no chance here that Nikov can close that. That gate has only got a couple of HP, so Riot could actually get in easily there if he starts attacking it in the right moment, or even try to get through the house. Very tough spot here by Nikov. Nikov sending in more villagers, and once more, where is Gary? Because Nikov is now completely open, and Riot will be able to just get in with no problem. Nikov was only relying on Sling, and Gary so far away, only now moving with a couple of knights, but those won't be enough to stop Riot. So it's such a hard spot here for Nikov at this point. I do wonder why Gary was so slow to react to this. I really have to wonder what happened there. Look at this, so many villagers going down here by Nikov, and these knights don't seem to be just quite enough to fight the army of Riot. I would have to assume that Riot can indeed tackle this army with no problem, especially considering Goku is right there with a couple of archers of his own. Oh, looks like the communication is not quite ideal at this moment, but does not look to me like Harry will have enough units to stop that Riot as well. Moving in with a couple more of knights, and the camels from Dogon coming in at this point as well. Very hard spot here for the Argentinians. Riot will be the first one to get to Imperial Age, closely followed by Gary. And such a hard spot right now here for Nikov. I'm not sure what he could do to stop this. And Gary being raided all over the place at the same time as well. Really nicely done here by the Brazilians. Didn't give up on that wall. So they were indeed quite able to get in, and Nikov at this point only with 50 population. Looks like the knights from Gary had quite gone. I don't see a whole lot of knights left from Gary here. Dogon is there with a couple of camels of his own. He just need to rely on Juan to come in. Juan is in Imperial Age in any second now. Looks like he will be reaching that just right now. But Riot will have Cavalier a lot sooner, and Dogon is there as well. So that could be a huge problem for Juan as well. On the right side, seems like nothing is happening. So the action is all over here on the left side of the map. Hard to see what could the Argentinians do to sort of stop this at this very moment. I expect Riot to be going forward with a couple of siege workshops, a couple of rams anytime soon. Yeah, indeed, he's not doing that just yet. He wants to finish Nikov as fast as possible. He's doing a very job at that. Nikov trying to run away with a couple of villagers. Looks like he was able to save a couple of them. Was able to wall in here as well. Looks like he is safe, but he will lose a whole lot of villagers in the process as well. Juan coming in with a couple of knights was probably not the best of the ideas. He does not have the numbers to match the army of Riot and Dogon at this point, so I would have to say clear advantage for the Brazilian team at this very moment. Looks like they will focus now a little bit here on Gary. Gary will be versus 2. There's a couple of camels right there from Dogon. There's a whole lot of Cavalier on the way, and those Cavalier are just about to get to Paladin. Paladin seems to be roughly on 50% here. He's going to take down the TC from Gary, that's for sure. And Gary will be in a very hard spot here. He's only with 90 population. Riot is on 150 population, and does look to me like this is going to be the countdown for the Argentinian team. A small mistake, or rather a very big mistake, ends up costing them the game. Looks like Gary was a little bit misplaced, and you have to wonder why didn't Nikov actually stonewall the whole thing. He did stonewall the right side of the map, but he did not do the same here on the south side. So really small mistake here from both players in my opinion. I think Gary was a little bit slow to react to that thing that happened, that Nikov was just under such a pressure, and I do think that Nikov did a small mistake by not stonewalling. This one here trying to do some kind of raidings here around Dogon, but Riot's pretty much all over the map. He spotted this on time, so he will be chasing those Cavaliers from Juan. And Juan only now clicking to Paladin, so he will be much later than Riot when it comes to that Paladin upgrade. A couple more villagers going down here for Nikov. Nikov needs to go in once more. And it looks like indeed Riot won't have a problem finishing Juan right here on the top side of the map as well. So just as we said before, it looks to me like this is indeed a countdown. GG for the Argentinians. at this time in game. Looks like Goku has got a couple of heavy camels of his own, and indeed the GG is called. That's the 1-0 for the Brazilians. Very, very hard mistake there by the Argentinians. Not stonewalling. Gary being a little bit slow with the reaction to that raid from Riot, and Goku ended up costing them the game. Let's take a look at what happened here. The sling was, of course, a lot stronger from Fire because Fire was not delayed and it was not disturbed on a sling, while Nikov indeed was very, very disturbed. Nice boom here by Goku, 130 villagers. Looks like he was heavily in front of FedEx, only 106 villagers. And that indeed is why slinging is so hard and so risky. It can be a very hard pay, but it's very, very risky. As you can see, a small mistake can cost you the game straight away. That is indeed what happened here in this game 1 from Brazil A versus